I've got this energy beneath my feet, like something underground's going to come up and carry me. I've got this sentimental heart that beats, but I don't really mind that it's starting to get to me. That's a song called Sam's Town by the Killers from the 2006 album, also called Sam's Town. I love this song. Um, Listen to it all the time. I heard it back in college for the first time and been listening to it ever since. Here we are in 2023. Still love it. Um, it's just one of those cool songs that just like energizes me. Um, and these specific lyrics that I chose really get me going because it's like one of those things where I'll be at the gym or I'll be doing something I need energy and I'll just get like this super burst of energy. And the lyrics to the song, I've got this energy beneath my feet, like something underground's gonna come up and carry me. It's crazy. Like it's like one of those things that's like, something underground is going to come up and carry me. I got so much energy right now, especially when I'm working out, when I'm running. But if I'm not, just one of those things, I could just hear this song and I'll get automatic energy. I don't even need coffee. But it's by my favorite band, The Killers. I know Joe Thurman's here. Welcome, Joe.
Hello, Sean. Nice to be here.
Yep. I know you said you're kind of busting my balls saying I choose too much Killers. This is only the second Killer song I've done. This is episode 27. This is Killer song number 2. But dude, I'm gonna do a Killer song like probably once a month. Just be prepared for that. So you know,
Hey, man, that's why they're your lyrics.
what are these lyrics like? What do they mean to you when you see? Because you don't really know the song. So like, when you saw these lyrics, what do they like mean to you? What do you think?
It was the next part I like the first part. It's like, oh, every once in a while, I feel like I got a burst of energy, something pushing me. That's fine. But I've got this I've got this sentimental heart that beats. But I don't really mind that it's starting to get to me. Because
Yeah,
to
that's a good
me,
example.
yeah, and to me, that's where it kind of related to me because I guess it just took me back to last week and seeing that thing at McDonald's or whatever, and just realizing the fact that I am an emotional dude. And sometimes that emotion manifests in different ways. It doesn't always manifest in where's my hanky and like I'm getting teared up. Sometimes it manifests in anger, sometimes it manifests in frustration or this or that kind of thing, or I may pop off at the mouth and say something about some athlete that I really didn't even really mean or something. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. But I'm a sentimental creature. I'm a sentimental being. And you know what, though? At the end of the day, I don't really mind because that's who I am. It's who I've always been. I feel things twice as hard as other people do. I think things seep a little deeper into me than other people.
Yeah, you're like because they call some people emotional vampires. All they do is suck the energy out of you because they're just so dramatic and they're so negative and they're always saying like things that really just get to you. And they don't, they're not sentimental really. They're not thinking of what they're saying and they're going around draining. They're emotional vampires. Whereas you, I feel like, you have that you feel things twice as much as others, like you said, and I believe that you have the opposite of the emotional vampire. You're like, you're giving people energy with you're giving off positive vibes, you know what I mean? But you're also feeling things deeply. You got a lot of empathy. And that,
Thank you,
it's part
thank
of
you.
having a sentimental heart.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just something, and that last line is just so and I don't really mind that it's starting to get to me, and because I don't know anything else, I wouldn't know how to be anybody else or live any other way. So that's kind of what it did to me. That's what struck me. So good lyrics, man.
Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, the song is called Sam's Town, and Sam's Town is a Las Vegas casino, like right off the strip. It's not like in the dead center of Vegas, to my knowledge. And I think the whole song is actually about because at one point in the song, it's like, I've seen Sam's Town, I've seen London. It's about a small town person like dreaming about going somewhere better. Um,
Right.
and they the band I think they're Anglo, like they're consider themselves kind of Anglophiles, and they like the idea of creating their own mystique about their hometown because the band, Brandon Flowers, is from Las Vegas.
Tell me
Um,
just not to interrupt you, Sean, but
yeah.
Anglophiles, what is that?
So I don't even I'm not really totally sure what Anglophiles are.
Oh, okay. Because I
Um,
really, and I don't
it's
ask. I'm asking you in all
it's
sincerity. I don't.
I honestly think it's because think about it, Anglophile, Anglo-Saxon. When I looked it up, it was basically a person who was greatly fond or admires England or Britain.
Okay.
Um, so they're Americans, but they really admire Britain. So
Okay.
um, I don't know. When I was reading about some of the meanings of the lyrics, I came across that, and they said that the New Order and the Smiths, they did the same thing with Manchester, references to exotic northern locales. Um, and I guess the Killers wanted to do a similar type of thing. They wanted to create a mystique about their hometown. So maybe the Anglophiles is because they're from Vegas, but the Killers are huge in England. They're huge in England.
Right.
Um, so they wanted to create a mystique maybe about London and Vegas. I'm not totally sure. Like I take these lyrics and I interpret in my own way and I get my own meanings from them, but I do look up the general meanings of lyrics and how everyone else is interpreting them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so apparently, like the Killer's bassist, Mark Stormer, he can see the Samstown venue through his childhood window. So Samstown obviously had a special meaning to him, and they just created this amazing. They named the album Samstown, not just the song. The album's named Samstown. So I don't know. You gotta listen to the whole song and really just digest it, but I just isolated these specific lyrics
Right.
because I'll be on the treadmill and this song will come on. You got Joe. I'll send you the link after the show, and you can really check out the song. I think you're really gonna like it because I'll be on the treadmill. I'll hear that lyric. I got this energy beneath my feet, like something on the ground's gonna come up and carry me. And then the way he's singing it, the beat, that's like a really fast beat, fast paced song. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I've got this sentimental heart that beats, but I don't really mind that it's starting to get to me. And it's just a whole, it's almost like it's like a beautiful type of whole story that the song tells. And that's the beautiful thing about lyrics. You can isolate, like we do on the show, isolate specific lyrics from a song and make them your own. And feed your energy, feed your mind, give yourself adrenaline, give yourself some positive vibes with the music that you like. And just this song to me has always meant a lot. I
Cool.
just really love it.
Cool. It's a good song.
So yeah. Then I read another thing. It says the person starts singing the song, envisions the big lights of Samstown and London, and he knows that making it to these exciting places will spiritually free him. So to me, it's almost like there's someone from a small town and they want to make it to the bright lights, like a bigger city. They're a small town person and they
Right.
want to get to one of these big cities, and that's Samstown in this case. It's just they're using Samstown as the place. It happens to be in Vegas, but anyway, great song. Joe, did you know today's National Chopsticks Day, National Frozen Yogurt Day, and National Lame Duck Day?
No, no, and no.
Because we're gonna start doing that in the show. We're gonna start throwing. I've been trying to make it a point to like look up because every day it seems to be something else. Is celebrating something.
Right.
So, today's National Chopsticks Day. Didn't know that. Not sure anybody's celebrating that. Maybe there are people out there. National Frozen Yogurt Day. And Lame Duck Day. So that's what today is. You watch Saturday Night Live?
I did watch Saturday Night Live this week, and it was to me, as I told you last week, you can't hold a candle lately to what it used to be. And I don't want to sound like an old curmudgeon, or I'm just telling you the truth that it can't. Most people would tell you that. However, this last week, for whatever reason, the skits were a little funnier. They weren't what still weren't, but for what it's been lately, this was a better episode of the show, of the recent show. And I found myself laughing a little bit, which is
What was
a refreshing change.
what did you think of Pedro Pascal? How did you think of him as a host?
I don't know how I thought of him as a host, but I felt like he fit into the skits a little better than most hosts, which made it funnier. When he's sitting around he's playing the Latin mother, and he's sitting around
That
playing a
one,
mother.
that one was so funny. That was a great one.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And there were a couple of three of these skits that I thought that's actually did a pretty good job. I wasn't on the floor rolling around, but it was funnier than normal, and I enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
it's
Did you
pretty good.
like the punchline of that one? Like she's being really mean to her. She's like, "Oh, this girl, what is she? She's not going to be making money. She's not going to be doing anything. What kind of girl is she? Her major is like not architecture, something random like anthropology or something that doesn't always lead to a lot of money.
Yeah.
But then at the very end of the skit, she says like her son Pedro Pascal, he's playing the mother, obviously. Uh, he tells her that she's like religious and she's like Catholic or something like that. And then automatically she's like super happy and she starts slapping him, saying, "Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me?" That type of thing. So I thought that was a good punchline for the whole thing.
Yeah, well, they get to finally down to the very end, and the girl's got this feeling that the mother doesn't like her and all this, and she's really trying to just persevere. And the mother says, "We ought to eat," and then the girl says, "Well, first we got to say grace."
Yeah, yeah,
And
that was
then the mother looks at he looks at her and says, and then gives the son like a rap, like a little slap on the face. Why didn't you tell me she was a good girl? Where are my grandchildren going to be? That kind of thing. It was funny. It was funny.
yeah. Did you like the one where like he's in bed in the hospital bed? Did you see that one?
Well, and
What did you think about that one?
I just think that it's not that funny to begin with, that people from California may talk a little bit differently. So then they exaggerated it. And okay, if it's for a line or two, it's funny, but they just went on and on and it was just
I
ridiculous.
like
It was
it.
like, dude, after the first 45 seconds, it's not funny anymore. It's just, but it was okay. It was okay. It was okay.
I thought it was funny because she's like, his wife is like, "Honey, you're in an accident," and then he says, "Why are you calling me honey?" in that voice of his.
Yeah.
And then she says, "I'm your wife," and he says, "Okay, not today." And then he kept saying, he said like, "Put a pin in it." He like to be her being his wife. He's like, "Can we just put a pin in that?" I don't know. I thought it was clever. I thought it was because think about it, these people have so much pressure on them every week to come up with funny skits and be original. And like they do it every week. And yes, they're recycling some stuff and using some concepts and different things that are, but like Joe, you have to really think about like it takes a lot of work to be original and do a weekly, like really funny show. It's like it's just a lot of pressure. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but everyone compares it to the heyday of the SNL back in the 70s and the 80s and when it first started. And I always say comparison is a thief of joy. I know you hate those quotes, but if you don't compare it to the old shows and just take it for what it is and just appreciate, hey, every Saturday night we have a really funny show. They're doing the show live. Something I get to enjoy on my Saturday night, and it's at 11:30 at night. Most people are home by that time. I just appreciate it so much. There's musical guests. They have weekend update. Just a nice like routine that I have to enjoy it on Saturday. I don't know. I know you're a little less enthusiastic than I am, but
Well, I
you
still
know,
watch it though. I still watch it because it's different. It's live TV. And depending on who the host is or who host is and whatever, and for whatever reason you may watch or whatever, maybe the musical guest is, I mean, one of the best, one, one of the best things I've ever seen was Eminem did a couple of songs on there. Matter of fact, I'm going to save that for my lyrics sometime, but Eminem, this has gone back, I'm going back a couple of years now, but it's one of the best things I've ever seen, one of the best live performances I've really ever seen. Um, he did a couple of his songs. I Like the Way You Lie, and the other one is I Walk on Water, but only when it freezes. I walk on water and no, I'm not Jesus, or something like that. I'm gonna have to get those lyrics. I'm gonna come on here. They'll be my lyrics one day. But just awesome stuff. Now, my point is, I digress. My point is, I watch it every week because it's live, it's different. It's you get a musical host and what the hell. But I can't help but compare. And the thing of it is, 20 years from now, if it's still on, 25 years from now, you may compare it back to because that's what it is. That's what
yeah,
that's
but
what
I've been
aging is.
but I grew up on it too. Like when I was a kid, when I was like really young, I started watching SNL really young. I mean, I was watching when Will Ferrell was on,
Yeah, I guess yeah,
um,
yeah.
Molly Shannon. So I was like, I got indoctrinated into SNL pretty young. I started just like
Mm,
I have like the DVD. I have the best of Chris Farley. I have the best of Will Ferrell. I have those on DVD. You know what I mean? I've been a fan, and I know those guys are great. And Chris Farley was even before my time, but I got the best of Chris Farley on DVD, so I know a lot of skits that he's in. You're saying I'm going to compare it in 25 years, but listen, I'm basically that's 25 years ago now that I'm talking about, and I'm still enjoying the show. Is what I'm saying. I don't know. It's just one of
well,
those things. I like it, but what if we didn't have it, right? What if we didn't have SNL? Would you miss it?
exactly. I would, and that's what I was just going to tell you. I watch it every, not every single. I think I watch it enough almost every week. And for the aforementioned reasons, I watch it, and I just don't. And I every once in a while, I sit there and go, okay, yeah, okay. But I used to go like just totally like, you know what they're missing? And look, I'm going to watch it, Sean. I'm glad it's on. I hope they keep it on. But you know what they're missing? They're missing that moment where a new skit, is about to take place, and a character walks in, and the second you see that character, this thing's going to be funny. Like the second you would see a Conehead, or the second you would see Gumby, like with Murphy, or the second you would see what's his name, Dana Carvey and those guys dressed as Billy Crystal dressed as like Maury Amsterdam or something like that,
Yeah.
or one of those, or the big guy, Chris Farley with down by a river. You're going to be living in a van down by a river. When you would see him, when you see that recognizable character, and it would be like, oh, this is going to be great. And you would see that character at least every other week, if not every week, probably every other week. But you would see characters on a regular basis. And I think they don't really, I don't know
Did
of
you
any
like did you
repeat
like
characters.
Did you like the character Mr. Peepers? He was like Chris Kattan was like a monkey, and he was like eating everything. He was like a human, but he was acting pretty much like a monkey.
Yeah,
Do
I
you remember
remember
that
it
one?
now. He used to jump up on a table and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it
You
was
didn't like that
okay.
one?
I guess it was
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, see, me and you kind of have a different sense of humor with a lot of things. I mean,
Or,
you find something really funny, and then I'm like,
or the one guy that used to say, I'm just a caveman lawyer, whatever it was. I don't understand your world. I'm just a caveman. I think he passed away too, that actor. Oh, he was in the Farley days and so forth. Isn't that something? I can't remember his name, but he used to do a caveman lawyer, and it would be in court, and he'd be looking
yeah,
like a
that's
Neanderthal.
that's what I said last episode. Phil Hartman played him, I
Phil
think.
Hartman, yeah, this guy. I mean, just one of those things where you see this recognizable character and a repeat character. When you said Mr. Peepers, I thought you were going to say Mr. Bill. And they used to have this thing with Mr. Bill, this little guy made out of clay. They used to do that, kind of, that was a little goofy, but yeah, look, it's on. I watch it. The writing just isn't what it used to be, and I think everyone will say that, but it doesn't mean to turn it off and cancel it. Maybe they'll make a turnaround. Maybe maybe things will change. Maybe the pendulum will swing back again. I don't know.
What about Mad TV? What did you like Mad TV when that was on?
I know I watched SCTV with John Candy and those. That was really, really funny. That was, some of those people
You don't
really
remember?
made it big.
You don't remember Mad TV when they had Coach Hines? You don't remember Coach Hines? That skit with Coach Hines, the black guy. He was bald. He was a teacher. He was Coach Hines.
No.
Oh, that was one of Mad TV's best ones. Well, on future episodes, we'll talk more about like some of these skits and some of these fun, because we could isolate certain skits and we could talk about them for over 10 minutes at least.
Yeah, but sure,
you know,
that's what they need. They just need repeat recognizable characters on this show the way they used to. And I think that would go a long way. But who am I? I'm just an
yeah.
observer.
Let me ask you a question. If you order takeout, right? You order takeout from a restaurant, like a real restaurant, like where you go down and sit down and eat. It could even be a diner. Do you feel obligated to tip?
Yeah, sure. If someone's bringing me something,
No. It's like you're picking, like you're not sitting down. You take out. Like you're actually you call your order in.
oh,
Not
and
like
I go pick it up.
not like a fast food place, not like a pizza place, or even a pizza. Just think about like a real restaurant, right? Like, do you think it's like, do you think you should be tipping the same amount you would as if you were eating at the restaurant being served?
Oh, if I'm going to go pick my order up at the restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant if someone's delivering to my front
Oh,
door.
no.
Okay,
No.
no, if I'm going to go pick it up at the restaurant, I absolutely positively will not give them 25%, because that's what unless the service is horrible, I give them a quarter of the bill. I give them 25%. Now, if I just go pick it up, look, if I just go pick it up and I'm feeling, and usually I do, I'll take a $1 or $2 and they usually have a little jar at the counter or something. I'll do something like that, but I'm not going to start breaking off serious money. It's like, what service I'm picking it up. So
Yeah, because I saw a thing Outback at Outback Steakhouse. Someone went to pick up their food, and the person on the receipt circled who got their food ready and had it ready for them when they picked it up. They circled the percentages of tips and they put a star around it. And there was like a big thing where like the person was so offended that they were asking them to tip, and they were like leading, they were like kind of pushing them in the direction of tip and saying if they don't tip, it's kind of rude. There was more to the story, but what I'm saying is, I worked at a restaurant too as a server. I don't know. I mean, I don't think you should tip 20%, but there's usually a waitress, waitress preparing that food that you're gonna be picking up from the restaurant. So
right.
I think maybe like
Couple $3 maybe, yeah.
Maybe like $1 to $3 is fine. But like not 20% as a normal server would get, because the server is like, they're doing multiple tables, they're bringing you the food, they're cleaning they're doing all this type of stuff. That level of tipping is not required for picking up. But they do have specific people who just bring out food. Like I know at Applebee's they have car side delivery. So if you order food, you get delivered to your car. And there's people who just work there. All they do is deliver the food out to the car. So I think in like situations like that, especially if they're delivering it to your car, maybe go a little bit more, but I don't think 20%, you don't need 20%, but I think a little tip is, a little tip, find a happy medium.
Exactly. You don't want to just, give them absolutely nothing. That's not, I even do that when if I pick up a pizza or something, I'll take up, because I'll have a little jar there. And that's like, what? I appreciate you making me a good pizza, and it's a good place, and I'm here a lot. And here's $1. I'll put a bucket in. They always ask, and they know the score. They know the score.
For pizza, you usually do about like $1.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a new like controversy. Not a controversy, but I think that's annoying people. They have these tablets where people are like, they put the tablet towards you, and you're expected to tip, but they don't have you write in the number. They start at 18%, then 20%, then 22%. And I'm talking about like just little things like going to a normal store where like, okay, why am I tipping here? Or like, even at the restaurants, like they start out at 20%. So unless you click custom and you type in your tip, you're going to be tipping about 20%. So that's been like a new thing that's been going on. Like they have a thing where they're like encouraging people to go 20% for like not waiter services. So little pet peeves that people have these days, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm saying everybody in the service industry should be respected. I realize that. And during COVID, we lost a lot of service workers. Not a lot of people want to work in the service industry anymore, but they deserve tips. But it's the question of, what percentage, right? Because they're like we just said, they're not supposed to get what a server does. However, they are doing a job. They do rely on tips. I don't know what they're like. For example, if I order from like a nice restaurant, I go to pick it up and someone like, brings me out the bag of the food, I have to sign something or whatever. I want to know, like, are they getting paid hourly? Are they getting paid like a normal hourly wage? Or are they making, because the servers only make about like $2 an hour. They make like no money because they get all cash basically. So if I knew that these people were just making like $1 an hour, then I'd feel really bad. I'd be like, oh yeah, they live off tips. But I think the people who actually like are just in charge of like bringing out the food, I think they're making like, normal hourly wage. So it's not one of those things where you have a guilt trip about,
Right. Exactly.
So I saw a couple movies recently. I saw Knock at the Cabin and 80 for Brady. Let me just say that Knock at the Cabin was one of the best movies I've seen this year. Even in the last 2 years. Knock at the Cabin was an M. Night Shyamalan movie. It is such a gripping thriller, an edge of your seat type of movie. I was locked in the whole movie. Dave Bautista did excellent in it. He's a former wrestler. He's actually a really good actor too. I don't know if he's quite Rock level. He doesn't have Rock's looks, but he might be a better actor than The Rock. But he just doesn't have The Rock's looks. But anyway, this movie was awesome. Basically, a couple has their daughter in like a cabin house, and these 4 people show up out of nowhere, and they give them an ultimatum. And they say, if one of you doesn't like kill each other, then, the world's going to end. The apocalypse is going to come. The world's going to end. And that's pretty much the premise. And then I'll leave it at that.
Right.
But
I don't want to spoil it.
That's all I really knew going into it. And then I learned as I was watching the movie, like, oh my God, this is what the concept is. This is very interesting. Very good movie. I really enjoyed it. I would probably give it a 8.4. That's how much I liked it. As far as 80 for Brady goes, it's a bunch of older ladies in it. So you're not looking at like the younger, because I'm 36. You're not looking at like these younger actresses. So you don't really have a lot of eye candy during the movie. The theater that I went to was full of old people. And I found myself laughing at a lot of different parts, but the old people weren't laughing. So I think whoever wrote the movie had some younger, hipper jokes. Like a lot of times, because they're trying to basically get into the Super Bowl. So they had a lot of scenes where there was a security guard like preventing him from getting into somewhere or doing something. I had so many times where I was laughing at what the security guards were saying to these older women. And it was like really clever, witty lines, but the crowd around me wasn't like receiving and laughing at the same thing. But I was probably the youngest person in the theater. I'm thinking to myself, this movie's, it's aimed toward a lot of different people, a lot of different demographics, but the theater is full of old people, and these jokes aren't landing with these old people. So, I mean, I love Tom Brady. He's probably the best quarterback ever. The movie was a lot better than I expected. I probably give it 6.7. 6.7. 6.7. Knock at the Cabin, I give it 8.4. Really depends what you want to see. I mean, Knock at the Cabin might be a little bit controversial for some people, and it might be like, what is this? And what, I don't really get it, but I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. And me and you were talking a little bit about Grubhub. Um, what's your experience ordering Grubhub? When you get the food, is it hot enough for you?
Well, I wasn't sure, maybe I didn't tell you that the only time I've really done anything like close to Grubhub, I've never actually signed up for Grubhub and so forth. The only experience I've had, I did order Pizza Hut, and this is like within the last year. I ordered Pizza Hut and had them deliver it, and it's just not the same. It's not the same as when I go pick it up and bring it home and eat it. You know what I mean? It's not the same. It's just, it takes longer or whatever it is. I don't know what the deal is, but I've heard the same about Grubhub, that think about it. I mean, it goes from the counter to this person's car, and then they have other deliveries by the time it gets to you, and that time is critical with a lot of food. So I've never done the Grubhub. I actually might, because sometime I might be so hungry I don't even give a damn, and I don't feel like leaving the house. But for the most part, I will, and especially like with Taco Bell. I mean, there's a beautiful new Taco Bell near me, so I get the stuff and I sit there and I'll eat it right there. And it's even, the truth is, it's even really better right there. It's even,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is. So my experiences with Grubhub is nil. My experience with having food delivered is some, but I like to eat it there. And if I can't eat it there, I'm at least going to pick it up and bring it home myself. So.
Yeah. I mean, because I ordered a Mexican pizza from Grubhub last night, and it was like cold. It wasn't like, because Mexican pizza sometimes it's not made properly. Like you're supposed to be able to pick up those pieces cleanly. I know there's a lot of
Yes.
sauce, a lot of things in the way that your hands can get really messy, but it was just like a mess. And then not only that, I had so much Taco Bell last night that like today I felt like crap when I woke up, and it wasn't necessarily stomach issues. It was like I'm like really stuffed up, and this has happened to me my whole life. I eat too much fast food and too much junk, I will get sick.
You really think
You
it
said
was
you're not like that. You said for you maybe it's like a stomach thing, but you don't really get a cold or anything like that. So it's interesting.
well,
Something
most
everybody's
people
body's
complain.
very different.
Yeah, well, if most people complain about Taco Bell, I haven't had this experience, but most people complain about Taco Bell. It's a gastro thing that they're complaining about. It's not like cold symptoms. So I think your cold symptoms may have come from, maybe you're somewhere, whether it's work or gym or whatever, if you're around a lot of people, because there's some vicious stuff floating around right now, man. It just is, you
Yeah, I
know.
mean, I take vitamin C every day. I take a multivitamin. I work out 7 days a week. And the only thing I can think of is I was feeling pretty much fine yesterday. And then I ate the Taco Bell, and today I don't feel good. So I'm just, thinking, okay. But I also have the prior experience
Coincidence.
where
Yeah.
I eat too much junk food. Like I said, also maybe it could be like a lack of sleep. I didn't get as much sleep last night as I wanted.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, that's a biggie, Sean. That's gigantic. It's
yeah,
gigantic, because that's when your body it strengthens. And even way back when I used to be in the weightlifting and bodybuilding stuff, a buddy of mine says, yo man, that's when your body grows. Your body actually grows. So you're lifting weights and you're pumping iron, get the sleep, because that's when your body's going to grow and you're going to get the gains and so forth. I mean, but not only that, but regenerative type things and your immune system and so forth. Sleep is crucial for so many things. So if I were guessing, I would guess that the lack of sleep had more to do with it than the nachos, bro.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just guessing, man.
Let's move on to our actor. Joe, unfortunately, this week we're not doing Ed Harris. I know, we got Ed Harris coming up. I know he's coming soon.
I told you, and as a matter of fact, I know a friend of Ed Harris's that said something to me the other day, and I said, "Oh, look, we're going to get to him. We're going to get there. I promise you." I was going to do it last week, but it's something else happened. I so I had to bump him out, but we're going to get no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, apologize to Ed Harris.
Absolutely.
We'll be on one of these days. So our actress of the week is Keira Knightley. She was born March 26, 1985. She's from London, England. She's always impressed me. She's like a unique sort of kind of a wholesome actress. Like you don't get any vibes that she's like, you just get a vibe that she's like wholesome. And I'll give you some reasons for that in a second. But she was immersed in acting from a young age. Both of her parents were actors. She actually had difficulties with reading and writing as a child, but she overcame it. And she had no formal training as an actor, despite her parents being actors. She did it out of pure enjoyment. So it wasn't like her parents were forcing her to be an actress and like training her and formally making her like this robot actor. She kind of just did it out of pure enjoyment. She grew up around it. She's interesting. I mean, I watched some interviews with her on some late night shows and whatnot. I found on YouTube. She said she was always offered supportive wife roles and the pretty woman that was a victim of violence, but she wanted to play other roles. And she's drawn to period pieces. Period pieces are, period pieces. They take place in a different time period.
Right.
She says she's drawn to period pieces because the female roles are better than modern supportive wife and girlfriend roles. She gets a ton of offers for being the supportive wife and the girlfriend. But she doesn't want to be those roles. She's more drawn to the period roles.
That's cool.
She thinks those roles are better for her as an actress, and she can really showcase her skills and talent instead of being typecast in these, the typical roles that she gets offered. And she was actually famous from a young age because she was in a movie called Bend It Like Beckham. She was born in 85, so Bend It Like Beckham was like around 2002. And that was one of her like breakout roles. But she was famous at a young age, and it took a toll on her mental health. So she had to take a step back from acting and get some mental health help. And I respected her admitting that. I love when people in the spotlight admit that they have some mental health struggles, because mental health can be looked down upon. Oh, if you have something wrong with you, you're crazy, or people want to be around you, you're cancerous, you almost have leprosy. Not the case. Most people in this society, in this modern day world, have some sort of struggle that they deal with. And for her to talk about it openly, I really respect that.
Yeah, anything we can do to lift the stigma, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So as far as the movies that she's been in like a lot of I haven't seen a lot of her movies because I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of period pieces. That's not my first choice to go watch period pieces. So there's a lot of movies that she's been in that I have to check out. But I did watch a movie to kill two birds with one stone, because we just did Sam Rockwell on Friday. We're doing Keira Knightley tonight. So I watched this movie called Laggies. It's from 2014. I really enjoyed it. It jumped into my top 5. It was that good. It's basically about a girl who's going through a quarter life crisis. She's almost 30 years old. She's about to be engaged to be married, and she starts freaking out. So she befriends this like 16-year-old girl. I know it sounds strange, but she befriends this girl because she buys liquor for her at a liquor store. But then she ends up going to the girl's house to hide away from like her husband or whatever. And like the girl's dad comes home, Sam Rockwell, and he's basically saying, "What the hell are you doing here? Why are you in my house?" And she explains her whole story and why she's there and anything, why what reason she's there. Anyway, long story short is a romance kind of develops between her and Sam Rockwell. It's a cute story, kind of like a different type of rom-com. I thought it was really funny, and I thought Rockwell and her did an excellent job in that movie. So that made it into my top 5. That's called Laggies. My friend at work told me about that last week, as I said I was doing Keira Knightley soon. And he's like, "Dude, did you ever see Laggies?" And I was like, "No, I never heard of it." So thanks for the recommendation, Anthony. So top 5. Number 1 is Love Actually. Joe, did you ever see Love Actually?
No, I haven't.
Everybody, that movie is like known. It's like a really famous like Christmas movie. but it's a phenomenal like British love story, and it has all different characters, and you see each character, and she happens to be a character in that movie, who's she's really attractive, but she's married to this other guy, and the guy's best friend really likes her, and there's a whole storyline that develops with her and this guy. But Love Actually, if you talk to any girl, most of them will tell you they've seen Love Actually. They watch it every year, at least once a year. It's that like kind of culty type movie. So that's number one. Love Actually. Number two is actually Laggies. Really like Laggies. I chose number three. I didn't even realize it because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like I love Star Wars. I loved it. I loved it more back in the day. Now these days, it's still good, but it's all over the place. They have shows, they have spinoffs, they have cartoons. Disney bought it from George Lucas, the franchise, and it's kind of. I'm happy. Listen, I'm not saying I'm not happy that there's more Star Wars stuff, but it's everywhere. But before that, there was episode one, because the trilogy, the original, those are episodes 4, 5, and 6. But episode one is called The Phantom Menace. She was in that. I actually saw that in the movies with my soccer teammates when I was younger. I didn't even realize, I can't speak to her role in that, but I just know that, that I love Star Wars. So I had to put Star Wars in my top 5. There's no way a Star Wars movie wouldn't get in my top 5 if I'm doing an actor. So she was in that. Then she was in a movie that I really enjoyed from 2011 called A Dangerous Method. It's about the two, Carl Jung and Freud, the two famous people who know a lot about psychology.
Yes.
Jung and Freud.
Mm-hmm.
So in that movie, it's about Jung and Freud. It's really cool. It's about you get to see Jung and Freud. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing this correctly. Jung and Freud.
Jung, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jung is how you pronounce Jung.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think it's Jung. I know it's not Jung. I'm pretty sure.
Some people say Jung.
But she plays a very ill woman who they're trying to fix with some of their methods. That's why it's called A Dangerous Method, because some of Freudian and stuff and Jung's methods were kind of frowned upon back in the day. But she plays a very ill woman, and there's some scenes where you're like, whoa, this woman's really ill, but she does an excellent job portraying this very ill woman, and whatever symptoms she has, if you look up the actual illness, she does a great job portraying it. So I thought that movie was awesome. That's number 4, and then number 5. It's called The Imitation Game. That's what Benedict Cumberbatch. She plays kind of like a genius in that movie. She gets recruited because she completes a crossword puzzle and she calls the number. And basically, it's like the British intelligence agency recruiting people who can solve this crossword puzzle. And they're like, "You solved this puzzle? Did you really solve this?" And she's like, "Yeah." But it takes place during World War II, and it's about an English mathematical genius, Alan Turing, who Benedict Cumberbatch plays. They try to crack a code. The German code. It's a German Enigma code with the help of fellow mathematicians. That's why they're recruiting really smart people. And she plays someone named Joan Clark, who's a real person, who was a real person, Joan Clark. Mm-hmm. She was actually nominated for Best Supporting Actress in that for Academy Award. So I think she was also nominated for. There's a famous book called Pride and Prejudice. You probably heard of it, but they made it into a movie. What you've heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was in that, and I think I had to watch that in college. I took a course in college about literature, and we had to watch Pride and Prejudice and read it. So I don't know. That movie was probably a very objectively well-made movie, and she probably was really good in it. That's why she got nominated, but I just don't really remember it. So that's my top 5. She's just an excellent actress. She could play all sorts of roles. Like I said, she played some mentally ill woman in A Dangerous Method. She played the love interest in Love Actually, which is a modern day movie. She's in period pieces all the time. Then she was in a movie called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World with Steve Carell from 2012, but I haven't seen that movie. I'm surprised I haven't seen it. It's just one of those movies I never got a chance to watch. So that might have made it into my top 5, but she's really famous for being in Pirates of the Caribbean with Johnny Depp. And I've seen all those, and I'm not a big fan of these big franchise movies. I don't like these big Marvel movies.
I'm not either.
They're not my favorites. It's superhero movies and these big CGI and these movies that cost almost $1 billion. Like I just said, I saw Avatar 2 recently. I didn't really like it. So she's really famous for being, a lot of people will tell you, do you know Keira Knightley? They're like, oh, she was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, she was in Love Actually. So yeah, she's known for Pirates of the Caribbean, but she's much more than that. She's much more than just a franchise actress. She's very versatile. I think she's going to have a really long career. She's still young. She's about 37 years old. So I look forward to following her career and seeing what else she's in. And I didn't know a lot of these things. That's what's great about doing the show. I'll catch up on what's going on with these actors and how, what type of people they are through their late night interviews. And she seems very interesting. She's also very attractive. Just asking you, Joe, when I mentioned we were doing her for the show, you knew who she was, right?
Oh, I knew. Yeah, I knew who she was because I remember seeing her in whatever. Matter of fact, she's big in the commercial game too. She does some commercials and she's she's a remarkably attractive. Just her face is just a beautiful. She really does. She really has and she always reminded me a little bit of there's another one. There's another actress that looks.
You're not confusing her with Natalie Portman, are you?
I was just going to say those two look alike.
Yeah,
I was just going to say she looks a lot like Natalie Portman.
I love Natalie Portman.
But I'm not confusing the two. No, but she looks a lot like Natalie Portman, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look like they could be sisters. They're both gorgeous women.
I forgot Keira Knightley was in commercial. I think she was in a Coco Chanel Chanel fragrance commercial.
Yes, and I remember her from that commercial. Something about she walks out of an apartment and jumps on a boat, or I think it's it might be in Italy or something. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a perfume commercial. But that was not the point. The point was like, wow, look at that. I mean, I've seen her in, extremely attractive, and I've seen her in different shows and movies along the way, but nothing that like landmark or anything like that. Now, let me ask you a question, just to harken back to this Love Actually. I don't think I've seen that, but is that the one? Because what I did see recently was a bunch of people talking about that was like the 25th anniversary of that or something like that, and Laura Linney somehow played a big part in that movie, I think.
Well,
and Grant, did Hugh Grant play a big part in that?
Hugh Grant was in that. Liam Neeson. It was basically a lot of different actors because it basically showed different character storylines.
Yeah.
It's all about like different love storylines. 8 different couples and dealing with their love lives, interconnected tales.
At one time, I'm going to sit down and watch that because it's so famous. But go ahead.
Yeah, but there's a famous scene in it where the guy from The Walking Dead who plays Rick, he goes to her door while the husband's in the house, and he has instead of so the husband can't hear him talking, he puts everything that he says on cue cards, and everyone loves that scene. One thing that he says in it on the sign where she's at the door standing there, he writes, "To me, you are perfect," and everyone knows that. Who have seen Love Actually, they never forget that. To me, you are perfect, and that's just a really romantic scene.
Right.
And she's just loving that scene. So
was that the damn movie that the girl says, "I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy"? Is it that kind of? Is that the same one, or is that a different one? See, I haven't seen Love Actually. It's not my kind of flick, but because it's famous, I do want to watch it. So I'm going to watch it. But I thought, and what's that other one? That because that's a famous scene. I didn't see that movie either, but I've seen that scene.
That's from Notting Hill.
Okay, so this is probably in the same genre, this kind of stuff, and not my gig. But I'm going to watch this Love Actually because it's famous. Laura Linney's in it, and this one's in it. This Knightley's in it. So what the hell? I'm going to watch it at some point. I'm going to watch it, I guess. But I just wanted to ask. We're talking. I can ask a question. It's not my genre, but I do remember seeing that one. Look, people talk about that scene left and right. This girl standing in front of a boy and all that kind of blah blah blah. And I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the same damn movie, but same genre. But that's why we have these conversations.
I'm telling you, man. If you happen to be out on a date with a girl, and she asks you what Love Actually, if you've seen Love Actually, I think you're gonna get extra brownie points, dude. You're gonna get extra points. She's gonna be like, man, this guy's really sensitive and he likes rom-coms. He's seen Love Actually, and you can quote the scene.
No, what I'll tell her is, I watched that, but I really like The Notebook better. And the hook, line, and sinker there. Because you know what, too? I did like The Notebook. I don't mind telling you that. I told you that for personal reasons too. But The Notebook was a damn good movie.
Now you got me thinking, dude. We're gonna do. Can I call it right now that I'm choosing Rachel McAdams for one of the show? That's gonna be my actress because I love Rachel McAdams.
Oh, who doesn't? She's another one. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm a stoner. I got dibs on choosing Rachel McAdams for one of our shows. We'll do her one of these episodes for sure.
All right.
Uh, you've seen
All
Wedding
right.
Crashers, right? Wedding Crashers.
With Vaughn and I've seen parts of it. I don't know if I've ever watched the entire thing.
That's come on,
In
that's a
fact,
classic.
I did actually. I think I did because I don't think I would have turned away. They were pretty good in that. I think I saw it, but it's been so long ago. I can't remember every scene, But
Yep.
it was okay.
Okay, so that's your actress of the week, Keira Knightley. Great actress. Seems like a really cool person. Really good individual. Besides being an actress, so respect to her. And yeah. All right, so we're moving on to Snapple Fact number 94, Joe. Lizards communicate by doing push-ups.
Wow. I do remember seeing that. I don't know if it was on an actual Snapple top or when I was scanning over the facts. I believe that's yeah. I remember seeing that. I don't think they're actually doing push-ups. They're
No,
probably
they are.
doing that.
I swear to you, because they work out for the same reason the guy at the gym might, as a display of strength. You know the reason why they do that? The more push-ups they can do means get out of my territory. They're doing the push-ups intentionally.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And there's 4 species of male Jamaican lizards called anoles. They greet each other by doing vigorous push-ups. Their head bobs in a threatening extension of a colorful flap of the skin of the neck. They repeat the ritual. It's supposed to keep other lizards off their territory. They're the first animals known to use non-acoustic signaling at dawn and dusk. Every other animal uses they do like random like bird calls and stuff and howling. They use non-acoustic. They don't, no verbal. The push-ups. The male, they stake out larger territories, which they have access to several females. So they want all these females, and they're doing push-ups to impress these females. Their territory. It really is. They spend much of their day sitting on tree trunks doing calisthenics to warn away other males.
Okay. I believe it. The animal kingdom is full of stories like that. That's
Pretty
pretty
cool,
cool.
though, right?
Yeah, it is. Very neat.
Yeah, so I love these Snapple. It started off as like you had the idea, like, let's do Snapple facts, and I'm like, okay, but it's kind of cool because it branches off into a lot of different things. Learn things too.
They're fun. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, that's the idea.
Okay, so you ready? You ready to be stumped? We got the on the real segment coming up.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, here we go. Remember, one's real, 2 are fake.
On the real.
Okay. First story. Cleaning crew caught throwing parties at vacant houses when they know the owners are away. The crew based in Roswell, New Mexico, carried on this scheme for over 7 months until the owners came home early and caught them in the act of a full-fledged party going on. So they're a cleaning crew cleaning like these rich people's houses in Roswell, New Mexico. And they had a whole thing. They figured out when the owners were going away. And it's kind of funny because that's kind of the premise of the movie House Party, but it happened in real life too. So I'm thinking, did they get that from the movie? Like they're using these mansions to throw parties, and they're charging $20 per head to get in or something like that, or maybe even more, depending on what alcohol they have and stuff. But they were caught throwing parties at people's houses when they're supposed to just be cleaning their house. So that's pretty. I saw that. I was like, oh, that's like House Party, but interesting story.
Okay.
Another one is New Jersey, because legalized sports gambling is legalized. They're expected to rethink legalized sports gambling. A bill has been proposed to make online sports gambling illegal once again, because it wasn't illegal until a couple of years ago. The reason that they're doing this is the amount of people seeking gambling help through 1-800-GAMBLING hotline has spiked. So there's a bill proposed. It's going to be on the floor, and it's they might get rid of sports gambling. So I'm kind of getting nervous. I love sports gambling, so that kind of like really threw me off. Okay, so next story. Joseph Henney's emotional support animal, Wally Gator, goes with him almost everywhere. He's got emotional support alligator. He takes him to the grocery store. He takes him for walks in the park. They hug each other and sleep in the same bed. And his name is Wally Gator. Most people in the community are familiar with him. He's 7 years old, and he's a 5.5-foot emotional support alligator. So I saw that story. I was like, okay, that's pretty crazy. The guy's got emotional, because everyone has a lot of people have emotional support dogs and whatever. But an alligator, that's kind of, if you bring him to the grocery store and stuff, how's that?
Where is this fella? Where's he live?
He lives in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So that's the part that threw me off too. I saw that Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm like, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. How does he have an alligator in Oklahoma? Because that made me think of your story from a couple weeks ago with a frozen alligator in the Florida house. I'm thinking Oklahoma, but I guess Oklahoma. I don't know what they're fucking what. Sorry for the cursing. That's my first curse.
$25 now. 25.
$5, But yeah, it gets me emotional thinking about an alligator potentially killing people. But if he's the guy's emotional support animal, then So, yeah. So what do you think, Joe? Which one's real?
I saw something on the news about 2 months ago about a gator, about a guy with a gator. And it was sort of like that. The kids from the neighborhood would come in and actually pet it. And it was really a real, innocuous creature at this point.
No, I think at one point he was, no, I confuse the stories. I think he's in Pennsylvania. The Gator's in Pennsylvania, which is that's another thing. Yeah, Pennsylvania. There's another story I had in the queue from Oklahoma City.
Okay.
I didn't have it in my notes, but
okay. So I'm going to say, since I saw something about this on the news, it's too long ago to remember the details. But I do remember even one of the news anchors said, that's all good till it's not. You
watch a lot of news, so I wouldn't be surprised.
That all goes well until it doesn't. You know what I mean?
So you're saying the cleaning crew that throwing the parties and the gambling ones, you're saying those are fake and this one's real?
The gambling one I don't buy for a second. Because listen, people who are making money and this and that, and they did gamble, and it's once you get a law out in the place like that, and all the effort and everything that took to get a law like that in place, they're not going to repeal it because people have problems. I mean, why don't they shut down the liquor stores? Because alcoholism is running rampant and has been for decades. It's killed so many people I can't even think about it. But yet the liquor stores are wide open, and we have our little pretty drinks with a little ice cubes and little pieces of fruit and everything, and because it looks all pretty and nice, it's fine. It's a killer. It's worse than any other drug that you can really think of. Matter of fact, a lot of medical people say it's one of the worst things you can put into your body on a daily basis of all the drugs. But I digress. Let me come back home here. The gambling thing I don't buy for a minute, especially the reason why the suggested reason why they would doesn't ring a bell for me. So the gambling thing's out. Now I'm down to Wally Gator and the party and cleaning crew. Although I think the partying cleaning crew is a believable story, I think in this particular case, in that wherever it was, Roswell or wherever, and they're setting off, spaceships and everything else. I'm going to say that's bogus too. And believe it or not, I'm going, because of that story I saw on the news, and then the fact that you're coming back in and saying he's in Pennsylvania, I'm going to say Wally Gator is on the real.
I saw them. Okay. So you're saying Wally Gator is real?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're right. So you do watch a lot of news, but when you asked me the location, I didn't have the location in my notes here.
So, Oklahoma. When you came back and said PA,
I know that's what I threw. Because I was thinking I told him the location that he could use it against me. Like, oh, you told me the wrong location or something like that. So I'm like, once I backtracked and said Pennsylvania, then I knew. But it's not. You would have got it anyway. You saw the news, right? It was on. It was on.
Dude, this was on like in October or November. I mean, it was only a 5-minute story in the news. But I do remember, and I remember our local news guy saying, something about, that all goes well till it doesn't, because it only takes for an animal like that, it takes a microsecond for that joker until it decide that's it, and then you got problems. But so I lucked out only because, Sean, I saw that on the news. Had I not seen that on the news, I may have bitten
Going for the
on the
party one.
cleaning one. Yeah. But that, I think that's ubiquitous, those kind of things
Yeah.
that they happen, all
I
kind of.
basically, what I did with the cleaning one is I basically took the premise. I just saw the new house party. I basically took the premise of house party and just used it as the start, you know.
Right. You kind of gave it away in the commercial. I mean, in commercial, you kind of gave it away in the description. You're like, just much like the premise of House Party. I'm
Well,
like,
there's a lot of things in life. People get ideas from like movies and stuff, and they go out and do it in real life. So a lot of people might have saw, oh, these guys made a lot of money throwing a party. So it was very, I thought it was very plausible to be true.
it actually was, even though you said that, it actually was, and it was between those two. That thing in the middle, to repeal a bill is difficult anyway, and then to do it because out of the kindness of their heart, all these people are getting hooked on gambling. They don't give a rat's ass who's getting hooked on gambling. They don't care. If they cared, like I said, they'd have done something about booze a long time ago, and anyway.
Yeah.
But
All
at
right.
some point, it's personal responsibility, right? It's personal responsibility. The liquor store stays open, dude. Have a drink now once a week or so if you want, or control yourself. But if you lose control, it's not their fault. It's the same with anything else. I
Absolutely.
told you, as a person who I took prescribed for my pain. I took certain opiate pills that are, the Percocet and things like that. These are legitimate drugs, right? And I took them, doctor's prescription, and so forth and so on. And you go up to someone and you say, well, I take Percocet from my back, and they're like, oh my God, they take. Oh wait, like, whoa, 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 whoa. These are millions and millions and millions of people take those things because they need them, and they take those things responsibly every single day. If 4% of the people who take them wind up addicted, that's a shame, but it's not their fault. It's the same thing with alcohol. For the 10% of the people who drink alcohol become alcoholics, you can't punish the other 90% because they know how to behave and they have self-control. At
Yeah.
some point, that's all I'm saying. That's all. And I really want to make that at some point, it's not the substance itself. It's not the law itself. It's personal responsibility. And know
Absolutely.
thyself. If you're an addictive system, you have an addictive not personality, but an addictive central nervous system, I like to call it. If you're, and whether you're an addictive person or not, you steer clear of it, right? So that's
Absolutely.
what it is.
All right.
Bingo.
So speaking of steering clear, Bryan Kohberger update. You ever hear about the stories where there's killers in prison, Joe, and they have like people, like women fall in love with them and write them like letters and stuff?
Yeah.
Because this is what's happening already with Kohberger. He's got a secret admirer. Um, yeah, so he's got secret admirers. This one, it was all over the news. This one lady's like obsessed with him, and she like writes some letters, and she's like, she believes he's her match. But she's been one of those people, like she's been writing other guys in prison too. But imagine being attracted to a guy who stabbed 4 young people to death and thinking that's your match. There's something really wrong with you, right?
It's a phenomenon. There's something about women that do that there's something that's I don't know what the commonality is, but there's some kind of a trait. There's some maybe some trauma that happened. I don't know, but it is astonishing. It really, really is astonishing, and it's happened quite a bit. It happens all the time.
Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm an eligible bachelor. I'm 36 years old. I think I'm decent, attractive, that type of thing. I'm in shape. I got a job. I got a podcast now. And not that the podcast really matters, but what I'm saying is I'm a presentable human being. And there's no a lot of girls writing me love letters, but I'm also not a killer and also not in prison. No, they don't know who I am. But this guy has girls writing him letters and seeking him out. He just murdered 4 people. It's like, what kind of world are we living in where that's happening?
I don't know what may be one of the things that stirs this and that keeps it going here, that perpetuates it, is the fact that these women might feel like they're not going to be rejected by a schlub that's behind bars and doing time, and the whole fear of being rejected is gone because, my God, they're coming to this guy and he's behind bars. What the hell's he going to do? Say no? I mean, maybe it's part of that, but I think it's even that could be part of it. But part of it is, they're going to. It'd be interesting if they really, really did some maybe they are doing research on that phenomenon, but it is a phenomenon. And Cuddy might be doing better as a prisoner than he was as a civilian. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I don't want to talk too much about that Joker, if it's all right with you.
Yeah. And there's one thing, because we're doing case updates. This is not necessarily a case update. It was just something interesting that we had to talk. Because our
Right.
dialogue about this issue is interesting for anybody having this dialogue. It's like figuring out why someone wants to, be in love with a convicted violent killer is just wow. It's crazy. But anyway, I digress. I'm off on a tangent. Okay. So basically, one of his victims, she was a student called Xana Kernodle. She was the only one who was able to fight back against Kohberger. She had noticeable defensive wounds on her hands. She repeatedly grabbed the attacker's knife, and she sustained deep cuts to her fingers that almost severed her fingers. So think about that. Poor girl's fighting back, and she's trying to grab the knife, and her fingers are almost severed off, and this is the guy. This is a killer, and this is the guy who has women writing him love letters in prison. What are we doing here?
Human behavior, Sean. Sometimes it's absolutely just off the charts, unpredictable, and that is it's what. Let's back it up. What possesses a guy to do what he did, right? Human behavior sometimes is really, really off the charts. So these women going into
today, dude. Mm-hmm. Dude, I saw something on the news. Remember the story you stumped me on last night? The Van Noyes guy who hit the guy on the bike.
Yeah,
I found out the story. I found out details of the story. The driver was a black guy, and he killed him because of white privilege. It was a random killing. He saw a white guy on a bike. He decided to hit him with his car and then stab him to death. I'm like, what is going on with society?
I don't know. I mean, and I don't condone it in either way, shape, or form. And I just, but certainly the roles were reversed quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I think the atrocities committed against the African American community throughout history are probably outweigh by far the vice versa.
No, I agree, but it doesn't give them the right to.
No, it doesn't. You're right, Sean. You're right. Absolutely right. I don't condone it. I think this is just as abhorrent as that. But just to say that we just when we mention something like this, we do have to mention the other as well. That that not that either two wrongs don't make a right or anything like that. I just we are an equal opportunity, and we're an equul,
Yeah, the guy who we hit likely had nothing to do with. Probably his family was never slave owners. He probably never offended black people in his life.
Exactly.
The guy who hit him didn't know about him. He didn't know. Oh, this guy, he's a clear racist. He's part of the KKK. He wears a white hood. No, he saw a white guy on a bike. He was in his car. It was a nice sunny California day. He decided to hit this guy and then violently, after hitting him with his car, violently stab him. There is no excuse for that, dude.
No. If you feel like I was trying to offer an excuse, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I was not. I was just trying to say that we have to, before we overreact or jump up and down, we have to understand, we have to understand history, and we have to understand what's going on. And I could tell you stories that, on and on and on and on about, a little black kid, 15 years old, was standing in front of a store down south, and he happened to look at a white lady the wrong way, and she told her husband that he was looking at her suggestive way. They found this kid and they tortured him. They drug him through, literally tied him to the back of a pickup truck and drug him around, that kind of thing. And then when they were done beating the living shit out of him, they threw him in a river. And he obviously drowned and so forth. So I mean, that's I'm just saying that I'm not making a goddamn excuse for anything. Let's not suggest that I am. I'm just saying that these atrocious acts of bigotry. This wasn't the only one that occurred. I think it's horrible that it did. But before we jump up and start, getting all defensive and getting all wild about it, you have to look at some of the other things that have happened too. And I'm not, no one's making an excuse. I'm just saying that if we're going to acknowledge this as a horrific thing and a sad thing and a terrible thing, which we are, we also have to look at some of those things because it just didn't come out of nowhere, that kind of a thing. This kind of now, this guy should go to jail for murder. It's a horrible thing. This poor doctor didn't do a damn thing wrong.
Yep.
Nor did that
All
kid
right.
that guy. But it's just one of these things, and I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure we look at this thing the right way. We have to.
I understand what you're saying. Like there's a lot of like people who carry around anger in them for different reasons. And a lot of Black people have a lot of anger thinking about some white people who kind of, they think that they call it white privilege, but in no case ever should it lead to violence is what I'm saying. So let's move on to
Agreed, Sean. Agreed.
Alex Murdaugh. Update on Alex Murdaugh case. The judge today just allowed evidence of Murdaugh's alleged financial crimes in a double murder trial. It's a blow to the defense because they fought the admissibility of evidence. They're saying fraud cases are irrelevant to the question of his guilt in the murders. Not true at all, because his financial crimes give him motive to commit these murders. So of course they should be allowed. And I'm happy when I saw that news. So
yeah. And just a footnote to the other thing, that mental health of people has a lot to do with these things too. And I told you before,
I agree.
99% of 99% of the Black community are great people. Okay, 99% of the white people are great people. It's in that 1% the people, and sometimes, Sean, mental health has a lot to do with these things too. That's all. But we were all brothers in Christ, and let's leave it at that. Now, to get back to Murdaugh, what was the gist of what happened here?
Yeah.
Recently,
basically, the judge is allowing he had a lot of financial crimes. We talked about this, where he was scamming people, where he was stealing money from his law firm. And he was his defense team was trying to disallow that evidence from being used in courtroom of his financial crimes. And the judge today ruled that it's going to be allowed. And that's going to help prosecutors' case a lot. Because it's going to give him clear motive for committing the murders. Because his financial crimes is really what led up to the murders. He got himself in a deep hole. He couldn't get out. And then he did some crazy things.
Yeah, I think it's a very good, astute move by the judge. And it also shines a little more light on his character, and the notion that, well, one viable reason why he did this is because he got in financial trouble. Horseshit. It's not a viable reason. You know what I mean? It's a reason in his disturbed mind, in his sociopathic mind. It's a rationale for him, but it's not a viable reason whatsoever. You get in financial trouble like that, you suck it up, you go bankrupt, you do whatever, but you don't kill people to get your own ass out of financial trouble. You know what I mean? So, but to harken back to the judge, I think the judge is very astute. We have to get all the information we can on this joker, and not allow him to duck. So that's a good thing, and I hope he gets his just desserts when this is all done.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to our current event. Joe, you know this. I'm sure a lot of people listening know this. There was a Chinese balloon, a spy balloon, flying above our beautiful nation since January 28th. And on Saturday, I believe it was around 3 p.m, finally the U.S. shot it down. It was first spotted over the western United States, I believe off Alaska. China said it was just it entered our airspace by accident. It said it was a weather balloon, and very, very far off course. But our State Department said it's a clear violation of our sovereignty as well as international law. It's unacceptable. We were supposed to have a diplomat. There's a guy supposed to go to China and do some sort of meeting, but it's been canceled. So we're just getting our relations with China on the right path. We're sending someone over, like a diplomat or something, and that's been canceled because this happened. But yeah, just to go back to the balloon, it's a controlled drift, apparently, entered on January 28th, entered Alaskan airspace. And it probed all around different parts of the United States around that area. It was around since January 28th. Our defense officials say that China has spy balloons orbiting around the world at 60,000 feet at any given time. And occasionally they stray into American territory. Um, they're categorized as by the Pentagon as unidentified aerial phenomena, the same as UFOs. Carries solar panels for propulsion, cameras, and surveillance equipment. And apparently, the Navy and the Coast Guard is going to try to put together the balloon because they shot it down above water. They waited till it was above water, which was good. At least it didn't kill anybody because it was the size of
Exactly.
the balloon was the size of 3 school buses, and you don't know what was inside. If there's poisonous gas, what the hell's going on inside that freaking balloon? Um, but they're going to try to put it together and try to figure out exactly what type of capability this balloon had. So I don't know why it took so long for the balloon to be shot down. I know they had to like make sure it was safe, but it was collecting intelligence. And there's also ways to view it like, okay, maybe America was also getting information from the balloon while it was flying around, and we were collecting data, we were intercepting data from the balloon, and somehow it's helping us. So I can kind of buy that angle a little bit. But then people are trying to get political. They're trying to say, oh, if Trump was president, he would have shut that balloon down. But then there's an article I saw on Bloomberg saying that three Chinese balloons flew over U.S. during Trump presidency.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that, but there also says that Trump never actually had he never had an opportunity to shoot the balloons down.
Well, he would probably say it was all a hoax anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah. So the balloons, they include jamming systems to hide their true intent. But it's like crazy. I didn't even know these spy balloons existed. I didn't know, because I'm thinking to myself, like, does China, is there like a remote control from China that they're controlling where the balloon flies? Or is it just randomly just floating around? Like, how exactly, what are the logistics, right?
Yeah.
So
I would think that China is so astute technologically that they would be able to control, because there are all kind of things there to be controlled. I would think they would be able to control that thing very well. And listen, here's the real deal. We have things over other countries too. We spy
we
too.
do.
Right? You know the deal. We all spy.
Spy versus spy moves have been going on for years. We're a superpower, so is China.
Right.
But there's a lot of spy versus spy going on for control of semiconductor production equipment, artificial intelligence tools, 5G telecommunications, quantum computing, and biological sciences. That's the new arms race. We talked about the computer chips a couple episodes ago. That's the new arms race, and every country is spying on each other, whether we hear about it constantly or not. But this was just so blatant and obvious. My friend called me on Saturday. He lives in South Carolina. He FaceTimed me, and I was literally watching the balloon in the air. He's like, dude, this is the Chinese spy balloon. It's above me. I was like, holy crap, really? And I was watching the balloon fly around. And like 20 minutes later, he texted me another picture. He's like, oh, they just shot it down. So, it's pretty interesting. It's just a small world we live in, where one of my, basically my best friend, Matt, it was right above his house. It's like, we live in a small world. And here I am talking about it on my show. And it's,
well, not only it is interesting, Sean, and not only that, it was about the size of 3 school buses. Okay, and if it's coming from that distance and it's falling from that distance at 9.8 meters a second squared, right? So it's exponential, the velocity. When that thing would hit, if that thing would hit the earth, and God forbid, hopefully, yeah, well, it'll land out in the cornfield, you hope. What if because if that lands on someone's house, it's going right through the basement. It's going to go from the roof to the basement in a millisecond. Something that heavy. And
my argument here is, like, it didn't take till when they actually shot it down, it was above the Atlantic Ocean in South Carolina. Was it never above like a cornfield or an ocean before that? Why they I feel like the balloon had to be above like some areas that weren't populated, and they could have shut it down sooner. That's where I'm getting angry thinking about it. I'm like, why? These balloons have high-tech sensors. They hover over a site for long, and they can pick up radio, cellular, and other transmissions that cannot be detected from space. So it's giving them such an advantage. Like, this balloon is doing better than satellites can do spy-wise.
I don't know. Go ahead. But well, I do know that yeah, your point is well taken. Like, geez, you can't tell me when it was over, like, central, Nebraska or
No,
somewhat,
the government knows that though. The government was like
well,
they had. I think pretty sure at all times, at least I'm kind of happy about this. I'm pretty sure at all times
oh yeah,
they had some sort of jets in the air, like tracking it, just in case. Because just like couldn't
they
they?
never felt it was safe enough to do that, regardless of what you're thinking. They just
Okay,
never felt they wanted to take that kind of chance, because if it goes
and
off
I don't
course
think. Do
just a
you
little
think this
bit,
this this shouldn't be a Republican versus Democrat argument? Like, okay, Trump would have shot it down because I just said an article in Bloomberg where apparently this happened during Trump's administration too, and we don't know what Biden was thinking. Who he's the president, but he's not always the final. He's the figurehead, right? So he gets blamed for everything that goes right. He gets blamed for
right,
everything that goes wrong. He gets credit for
right.
everything that goes right, that type of thing. But he's also not the guy who's making the final call always. So, and I got to be honest, I don't know if I want Joe Biden making the final call on these things. I want the smart people around him who have, they're younger. Not saying that these old people can't have these jobs. We've seen, I'm not going to talk about this, but Biden,
Well,
he's
I don't
shown
know
some,
if I want any
he's shown
one
some,
guy making them,
yeah,
and
exactly. I
they
don't want
don't, they
anybody,
don't.
but he's
Right.
shown some mental lapses. And I'd be very scared to have this old guy in office. So we don't know if he has all his mental faculties making important
Wow.
calls.
Wow. Well,
But what I'm
now let,
saying,
let me let me
what I'm
explain.
saying is,
No,
what I'm
okay, yeah,
saying is,
you're wrong, but go ahead.
we
Go ahead.
shouldn't shoot, we shouldn't have one person making that call, right? And
We
he shouldn't be
and
the
we
one.
and we don't. We
Actually,
didn't.
he shouldn't be the one. He shouldn't be the one blamed, right? It should
Okay.
be like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole
Right.
government should be
Okay.
blamed.
When you're done, let me know. Okay.
Yeah.
So first
Okay.
of all, let's back up and talk about Joe Biden. The man is close to, I think he's 80 years old. So
Yeah.
the fast twitch, some of the fast twitch that you see. First of all, he had a speech impediment that he overcame, and you'll see some of that too. And it's easy to confuse that with with mental lapses. But he has had little micro mental lapses in the short, like very short term. Like I wouldn't want him to try to play Jeopardy because there's a little delay. But when he has more than 30 seconds or so to sit down and analyze something, you couldn't get a more astute, more seasoned, more
Okay.
intelligent man, Sean.
I'll trust you on this because you watch a lot more political television than I do.
I swear to
I
God,
really
Sean,
I
swear to you.
stay far away. I stay far away from political television. I don't
Right.
really watch a lot of Fox News. I don't watch a lot of CNN. I don't watch a lot of MSNBC.
And you
They're
know
all
what
the
else,
different
Sean?
spins.
If he were
So
really, 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 if he were really showing signs of that, there are ways that we can, in our government, the way it's structured, there are things we can do to remove a president that's showing those kind of things, if that's the case. Now, all he was showing was senior moments where it's like there's a little delay, like a 5-second delay. Like I said, he wouldn't win in Jeopardy, but when you can sit down and ask him to analyze something and to really go over it, the man
okay.
is still all there. Now, only thing I got to say is here's the way this kind of stuff works, Sean. I've been watching politics a long time, Sean. If you like the administration, he did the right thing. He waited. Wednesday, he told them, hey, when you get the opportunity, the next safest opportunity, take it down. He told them that Wednesday. And that was pretty prudent. If you like the administration, that flies. If you don't like the administration and it's not your guy, then you're going to criticize. Oh my God, what took so long? That's what it is. So, and I can't tell you if you reverse it. And if Trump were there, whatever decision Trump made, suppose he decided to shoot it down right away. Okay, right away. The other side would say, man, that was awful hasty. You gotta really think things through. You gotta be measured. So whatever it is, it's showing all you're doing is that's just politics. Now, if Biden would have said, are you kidding me? That thing comes down immediately. I want it fired down immediately. Then his adversaries to the right would have been saying, oh, I just don't like the way he did it half cocked, and it really wasn't measured or well thought out. It's politics, Sean. It's Sean.
That's
I
what makes
swear to
me
you.
angry about politics. That's what makes me angry about politics. Is
Right.
that
And that's
even
what
if
it
they
is
know
here, Sean.
even if they know the other side is right and they know it in their bones, they're still going to be like, they should have done. Like they're always going to have some sort of complaint about what they did. And as Americans, we should all be on the same page a lot of times, and definitely with national security issues.
Mm-hmm.
We should be looking out for the best interests of our country. So I just don't like the fact that people, it's like sports. Like if you like your team, you're not going to you're going to be really angry at your adversaries.
And
But
Sean, this was predictable. I mean, the fake outrage from the other side, it was predictable. I mean, there it is, Rump right there. It's like, okay, because it was, and it would have been the other way around. I'm telling you, it would have been that way too. I'm telling you, it's a two-way street. That's politics, and that's the way the game is played, and it just is what it is. The bottom line is, it's no longer a threat, and we are going to learn a lot about this when we retrieve a lot of that stuff. And because what's really, really interesting is what they're looking for, what their searches are based on, right? What it is they're looking for.
You don't think they have like a kill switch? Like, okay, the U.S. just intercepted this, therefore all the data is automatically deleted and the U.S. gets nothing to recover.
Maybe. I don't know, Sean. I don't know these things.
Just I'm pretty neutral with politics. I'm pretty in the middle. I'm
right.
like fiscally conservative, but I'm pretty socially liberal, to be honest.
Right.
I'm not really, a big Biden detractor or a big Trump advocate or any of that type of thing. I stay out of that stuff. But what I'll say is I was angry that it took so long, and I just want our country to be safe. So for me, from a kind of like a American, my first instinct was, holy crap, that was in the air since January 28th. And I just there's going to be more information, but I don't know. It's just like, it's one of those things that's just like,
I understand your feeling, but it was over Canada most of that time, wasn't it? And then when it entered our airspace, it was Wednesday, and Biden said, shoot it down the first safe chance you get. I don't want any catastrophes here. And my God, can you imagine? And how far up was this thing? This thing was way up there, right? I mean, I can imagine.
The state China has control. China has control of the balloon, right? China has control of the balloon. They're calling it a weather balloon. Why can't the U.S. call China up and be like, hey, this is really a weather balloon. Can you guys direct this above the ocean, please? And then we'll just conveniently shoot this down. So, like, why did it take so long for it to be above an ocean? Why didn't China comply and say, oh, sorry, our weather balloon veered off, but we'll actually direct it? That's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like there could have been better. It could have happened quicker if China. Who had control of the balloon. Like, why couldn't they tell the person controlling the balloon, get this thing above an ocean? We want this thing out of our land.
People you have to talk to are the people below Biden that he left it to, because he wants to leave it to those experts, right? He says, look, I want that thing down. Immediately the first safe chance that you get, we're not putting anyone in jeopardy. And although it's easy to say, well, okay, my way here, okay, over these cornfields here, but when you're dealing with something that high up that is subject to change and get off course just a little bit, if that gets off course just a little bit, that could be miles by the time it hits the ground. And I'm telling you, if that hits a school, if that hits an intersection in a city, if that hits a piece of a building, if that really, I mean, think of all the things that really could go. And then it's like, so they did. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. Discretion is the better part of valor. Let's make sure we don't get anyone killed. So it's real easy to sit back and fire up a cigar and drink a scotch and say, oh, should have done it earlier. Nah, you gotta look at everything, right? You gotta do your homework. You gotta look at the fine print. And you gotta understand that the priority is always going to be to keep Americans safe. Here ended the lesson. God bless Joe Biden. God bless the United States of America. What else you want to talk about tonight?
I just want to say quickly, they have the capability of getting, I didn't even know countries have the capability of getting stuff in our airspace. So it's kind of, it's scary to know that they can just get a random balloon above our airspace. Because think about it. Mm-hmm. Say these were really weaponized. Say they wanted to get a sneak attackers with tons of balloons at the same time and just have the balloons just fall to the earth and kill a bunch of people. That's what really concerns me too. The possibility that foreign countries can just get these things in our airspace. I was always thinking like I trust the government. It's like, oh, they're protecting our airspace. They got all these technology, these satellites. They got people in these big rooms and these rooms with all these computers, and they're tracking everything. It's like the air traffic controller stuff on steroids. The air traffic controllers that you see at the airports. They have the Pentagon. They have all these secret rooms and all these computers and screens, and they know everything that's going on above our air. But apparently a Chinese spy balloon can get into our territory. That's the part that scares me. That's
But
like, holy crap.
yeah, but every country in the
Point.
world, we're able to get we're able to penetrate just about every significant country in the world too. So it is, I mean, when you're on offense, like we're on offense, we said we got balloons and spy balloons and all kind of stuff everywhere across the globe. Yeah, we do. That's cool. Oh, wait a minute. You mean other people can? And I agree with you. We should, I lure myself in a false sense of security too, that we're on everything, but I don't know. You know, our gang, I feel pretty safe with our gang. I mean, we have the best military in the world. We have the most equipment. I feel pretty safe. I don't think anyone's going to mess around and try to send anything nuclear our way, because that for them is suicide. I don't care what nation on earth it is. So I don't know, but I don't know. These are all things that you ponder. But are we perfect or totally impervious to everything? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think we catch a whole lot more than gets through. And even this thing here, okay, it was there. Okay, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, because there's been some stuff that's happened between US and China. We have a plane called an F-35, and about 15 years ago, there was a theft of the designs of the F-35. The Chinese took it and enabled the Chinese Air Force to develop its own stealth-like, look-alike fighter with Chinese characteristics. So, this stuff is not new, where people, China and the US are kind of like, spying on each other, and superpowers do this. But like I said, my main concern is the safety of our country and our nation. And the idea that, a country so far away like China could just like get a balloon above our land is like concerning to me. So hopefully US tightens up the security and we can really prevent this from ever happening again. That's all I'll say.
It would be nice. I mean, but did you miss the part where there were three other times that it happened? And so I mean, it's
but
happened.
now
Yeah.
it's out in the spotlight now, because things in society, it takes tragedy, it takes something crazy to happen for people to wake up. To be like, oh, that's because before 9/11, most Americans didn't even know that Osama bin Laden, who he was. They didn't know Afghanistan was a real threat to us.
Yeah.
Until it happened, until we were attacked. So, things that, we're lucky that we didn't get hurt this time with these balloons or whatever. You don't know what the intelligence they got and how they could hurt us, that intelligence. But what I'm saying is it usually takes some big event for us to change our ways. And let's not let these big events get us to change our ways. Let's tighten things up, security, government officials, if you're out there.
Wake up call.
Let's protect our country, please. That's all I'll say.
I'm hip. I'm with you.
Okay. As far as sports go, we got to talk about this first because it's big news. The Brooklyn Nets traded Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving was traded so the Nets couldn't come to an extension for Kyrie Irving. Everyone knows this history. He was anti-vaccine. He didn't take the vaccine. The NBA suspended him and fined him constantly. He didn't play most of last season. He's always making outlandish statements. He thinks the earth is flat. He's kind of goes to the beat of his own drum, but it's kind of like weird thinking and a lot of opposite thoughts from a lot of people. He accidentally promoted an anti-Jewish agenda. Accidentally, he promoted this documentary that he had to apologize it, and Brooklyn suspended him for a little bit. So the guy is always in the news for doing something really kind of messed up or not normal. But Brooklyn traded Kyrie Irving to Dallas, and they got back Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2027 second-round pick, a 2029 first-round pick, unprotected, and a 2029 second-round pick. And Dallas got Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris. So Markieff Morris, I didn't even know I didn't realize he was in the Nets, to be honest with you. But anyway, Kyrie Irving was traded. Joe, I know you're not a huge basketball fan, but what's your opinion on Kyrie going to Dallas? What's your first initial opinion on that?
I guess poor Dallas, because this guy's a great basketball player, but he's marching to the beat of a different drummer. It's his own drum beat, and he just does whatever the hell he wants, and he shows up whenever the hell he wants, and he's trying too hard to be this sociological ambassador, or however he sees himself. Just play basketball, just play. But he sees himself as in this bigger role, and that's part of what his downfall is. He started with the bullshit with the vaccinations, and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do it. Cuz just come on. Anyway, he's a great basketball player, but he is what he is personally, and I think that's gonna a leopard doesn't change its spots. So I think they're gonna have problems. I don't think they're gonna go to the finals because they got him. Now, what it does is, me, for a basketball fan, it gives me a little bit of hope that maybe the 76ers will mess around and find a way to get Kevin Durant on this team, and if they do, they're the odds-on favorite to win everything. If they don't, they're going to be what they are, which is a team that's going to win. It's going to win a round. It's going to lose in the second round and say, "Oh, next year we're really going to." No, you ain't going to do shit next year because you didn't do shit this year or the year before. Okay, now if you get Kevin Durant, you're going to be the front runners to win the championship of the National Basketball Association.
Well, just remember that big three, and like it all basically the big three. I'll basically start with LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. They all got together in Miami and teamed up. They won 2 titles together. They also lost, championship too. But there's always the titles. And the Nets had Kevin Durant. The Nets had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden on the same team, and they still couldn't get along and win. They only played 20 games total together or something like that. But I don't think Kyrie, that's all about chemistry too. I mean, you put Durant on 76ers with Joel Embiid, with Maxey, with those players, Tobias Harris, James Harden, obviously.
I
don't think it guarantees a title, dude.
Oh, I wouldn't say guarantee, but they're the front runners to win it all. I would say. I would say that. I mean, you've got that. That's beastly. That is beastly. And of course, Maxey's not going anywhere. They find a way to get Durant here, but they work around Maxey, of course. Now you got Durant, Embiid, Harden, and Maxey, and then they're not going to have scrubs around them too. They're going to have some good basketball players around them. I don't. I mean, it's Kevin Durant, dude. And then you've got Joel Embiid, and then you got James Harden, who's surprisingly looking better than he's looking like the old James Harden. I mean, come on,
Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid have a very vast injury history. So, having them all healthy at the same time would be a miracle. So, anyway.
Miracle's a strong word. I don't think miracle.
One thing that I thought was pretty funny.
I think they're the odds-on favorite to win it all, but go ahead.
Well, you're thinking that Durant's going to go to Sixers. I don't know, who knows, but anyway.
Right.
Nets owner Joe Tsai did not want to trade Kyrie to the Lakers. Kyrie wanted to go to Lakers, and Joe Tsai kind of spited Kyrie. He did not send him to the Lakers, so there's that too. Because Kyrie could have been teamed up with LeBron again. They won a title with the Cavaliers, so
yeah.
All right. So how are you feeling about, we'll talk more because our episode before the Super Bowl is going to be probably Friday or Saturday. Any new thoughts about the Super Bowl matchup? You feeling more confident, less confident? Any new local news stories about what's going on with the Eagles, the team, what they're thinking?
It's really a tough one. I can look at it in some ways and feel confident. I can look at other ways and think, oh man, we might be in a bad spot here. What I'm thinking of just recently is that I'm not as confident as I was at first. But I'm not totally backing away from it. But it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And when you give Andy Reid 2 weeks, he's going to spot some weaknesses. There aren't many weaknesses in our Eagle defense. There aren't. But if anyone can spot them, it's Andy Reid with 2 weeks to do it. And then Patrick to take advantage of that. So yeah, that concerns me. The only other thing that concerns me, Sean, I know we can run the ball on anybody in the National Football League. We smash mouthed the biggest, baddest defense in the world. They're coming in here last week and we just smashed them, right? Just ran the ball. But what bothers me is I haven't seen Jalen, his arm is hurt. I haven't seen him really throw it around the lot. I've seen him miss a couple of big throws that against the Giants, there was a touchdown throw down the seam to like a 30-yard pass down the seam to Brown that he missed. He overthrew it. And it was darn near that same route that he overthrew in the 49ers game. I mean, he normally sticks that right on the guy's ear hole. I mean, I don't know what's going on. It's been a while since, what I'm trying to say is it's been a while since I've seen the Eagles passing game be where I think it's going to need to be, in addition to having the running game that they always can count on. But at some point, they're going to need to balance that out, and they're going to need to chuck that ball. And it's been a while since I've seen them chuck the ball with any success. Now, hopefully, they come out and they just start throwing it. Now, they haven't thrown the ball with much success, but I don't, look, that Niners defense is good. We ran the ball on them because we run the ball on anybody, because we can do that. But they didn't pass it on them too well. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's Jalen's arm. I don't know if it's an attribute to the 49ers defense, but we're going to need everything. So I've got some concerns that I need to, I would have liked to have seen Jalen throwing the ball better coming into this. Now, maybe this 2 weeks off is just what he needs, right? And I think, when I think that way, though, I think guys are going to be a little more open this week than they were against San Francisco. So, but it's just one of those things. I have a lot of respect for them, despite the fact of tongue-in-cheek comments to them area. Look, a lot of respect for the quarterback, a lot of respect for that head coach and that organization. And I'm not going to disrespect the Kansas City Chiefs. At the end of the day, though, and I'm going to wrap this up. At the end of the day, though, we have a better roster from 1 to 47. We should win this football game. Shame on us if we don't.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
Here's something that's very eerie. Both of them are 16-3. Both of them are number one seeds in their conferences, and both of them have scored exactly 546 points this year.
Yep.
And both teams have averaged 4.6 yards per carry and have 4 takeaways in the postseason. I believe that information came from Field Yates from ESPN. But yeah, it's a hell of a matchup, and I think they're this is the first Super Bowl, I think, in 39 years where both teams had won a Super Bowl in the past 5 years. Obviously, the Eagles won in 2018, the Chiefs won in 2020.
And they're both number one seeds. That doesn't happen very often.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be, I think it's going to be I can't wait for that game. It's going to be so fun.
I saw Sal Palantonio a couple hours ago on the news, and I wish I was as confident as him. He said, look, here's the deal. He said, yeah, they're good and we're good. But he says, I think the Eagles are better. And he says, not only that, the Eagles can't give up because they're going to stack the run in the first quarter. They're going to come at the run hard. They're not going to, but they got to keep pounding. And he said, if the Eagles stay with the run the way they did against San Francisco, he says they will trounce the Chiefs. He's Sal Palantonio, and Sal Pal is from here, but he's not going to BS you. He said if the Eagles run the ball more than 40 times, they're going to pound. They're going to trounce the Kansas City. So I think that's cool. Okay, Sal. Okay, Sally, I'm with you, but I just don't know. Now Friday, I'm going to have to. I'm sure Friday you're going to corner me into something, so I'm going to have to make a prediction, but it's still up in the air. I just cannot sever totally and be totally objective. So my prediction is going to be with the Eagles W. I can't the other way around. I mean, sure, I understand it could happen, but my prediction can't be that, but it's just going to be the number of how much or where, what kind of game it is. So, but I could tell you that much now, but as we get there, we'll get there.
Yep. Going to be a great game. I just want to say, bad gambling beat recently. Purdue was playing Indiana on Saturday. Purdue was ranked number 1 in the country at the time. For some reason, I didn't know this. They were an underdog. Indiana was ranked like number 23, but they've been playing very well. They're considered a very good team, better than their ranking. They were favored by like 1.5. They were at home, and Indiana is a tough place to play. Mike Woodson's their coach. He's doing a good job there. They haven't had a good coach in years, but I live bet because Purdue is losing. Live bet, and I took Purdue plus 4.5. And the last play of the game, guy hit a layup in Indiana. It should have been a foul. Like they should have fouled him, and it should have been free throws. But for some reason, Purdue didn't play good defense. They let them throw a long pass. The guy had a wide open layup, and Indiana won by 5. I lost my bet by 0.5 point. So that's the bad gambling beat. So as far as Villanova basketball, we are a mess. We can't close games. And I think that speaks more to Kyle Neptune than it does to the players, because the same personnel under Jay Wright, this would not be happening. So I'm kind of disappointed how things are going. We still can win the Big East tournament, and that can get us into the tournament because Justin Moore's still finding his legs. You know, he ruptured his Achilles, so it takes a while to come back. But yeah, I mean, Joe, did you know that the Super Bowl 57 is on Fox?
Oh, I did not know what station it's on. No.
Because I think the announcers are Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. And that's the best. That's I'm not saying these guys. I like Greg Olson, seems cool as hell. He seems like a cool guy. And Burkhardt seems fine himself. But the fact that those are the announcers, and like, you know, Olson's almost like a rookie. Like he's been announcing for maybe like 2 or 3 years. But they used to have Joe Buck and Aikman. So,
yeah,
you know, listen, it's a Super Bowl. They could do a fantastic job, but you know, usually you hear big names. You know, you got Romo and Nance, you got Aikman and Buck, you got Michaels and Collinsworth or something. Burkhardt and Olsen doesn't ring the same bell or same, you know, doesn't, you know, I don't know. It's like, I'm not trying to diss these guys, and I want them to do a good job, but that's the best that Fox has. It's like, you know, I just don't think they're seasoned enough. Like Burkhardt's pretty seasoned, but Olsen's not seasoned enough yet. And you can maybe say the same thing about Romo. Like you could say Romo wasn't as seasoned when he did the first Super Bowl, but Romo is kind of like a prodigy in the announce game. Olsen's good, but Romo was kind of like a prodigy. You know what I mean? So everyone was like, okay, that's Romo. He's great. Everyone, for a while, everyone loved Romo when he first started. He was predicting what would happen on each play. Everyone was like, oh my God, this guy really knows football. But I don't know. Burkhardt and Olsen are the announcers. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, at the end of the day, I watched the game because and I don't care who's playing or what. I watched the game because I'm watching the game, and the little bit that I get, if it's extra, like Madden was unbelievable. That was funny, and it was great, and it was different, and so forth. You know, that kind of thing. Now Troy and Buck, we've come to know them, but what do they do that's really, really funny or entertaining? No, yeah, look, I think these guys will do a more than adequate job. But when I watch a game, especially if my team's in the Super Bowl, dude, they could have, you know, they could have, you know, what's his name? I don't know. They could have anybody doing the damn, you know, commentating. If my team's in the Super Bowl, you know, Gilbert Godfrey is the name I was going to say. They could have Gilbert Godfrey calling the game. I don't give a damn because the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. So it's like I'm locked in. And even if they weren't, even if it was just the Super Bowl, I'd still watch the game. And I think sometimes we all do this. We put a little too much emphasis on, and we start rating these guys. You know, sports talk radio does that all the time. You know, I think these guys, they should do better than this. You know, just watch the goddamn game, dude. It really doesn't matter that much who's in it. But I get your point, Sean, that if I had my druthers, I'd rather have Troy and Joe. I would. But if I don't, it's not going to take away too much, though.
I'm not condemning Olsen and Burkhardt whatsoever.
I know you're not.
I'm just saying it seems like, you know, this is a big event. This is Super Bowl 50. There's only been 57 Super Bowls. This is the 57th Super Bowl. And, you know, it's a big event. And listen, these guys could like do a great job and they can really make names for themselves. Everyone could be like, oh my God, they did a great job. And I'm really impressed. And they have an opportunity here. But they also have an opportunity to disappoint a lot of people too. So I don't know. Just one thing I noticed: the Super Bowl 57. I didn't even realize it was on Fox. I didn't realize they were the announcers until like today, pretty much. But
No, and that's an observation you made that probably a lot of people have made already too. But when I really think about it, Sean, I watch football to watch, the quality of the commentating can vary. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of that game if I'm watching that game and I'm interested in that game, even if it's your Cowboys. If I'm watching the Cowboys and they're playing somebody, I don't know, the Vikings or somebody, I'm rooting for the Vikings. I'm into the game. I got a reason. I want to root for the Vikings to beat the Cowboys because they're in our division and there's an interest there, right? Where even if there's someone that I'm not, if you can always find a little interest in watching the game. And the announcers are they're I'm not going to say they're immaterial. When you get the funny ones that are real entertaining ones, that's great. But when you don't, it's not going to bug. But I agree with you that your observation is probably very popular. A lot of people are probably thinking the same damn thing. Doesn't Fox have anybody else better to do this? But at the end of the day, are you really that bummed that you're going to be locked into the game?
no, I'm not gonna. It's not gonna. It's not really gonna
Right,
annoy me. It's just something that
right,
stuck out to me. It's like, oh wow,
right.
that Mark Carton and Olsen are doing the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good
All right.
observation, though.
All right. So that's the show today. Thanks everyone for listening. Joe, the floor is yours.
What do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino? Elephino. Good night.
Take care.